Picture this for a second. The biggest star in women's basketball, sitting on the bench, frustration written all over her face. Fans completely losing their minds online, and whispers growing louder with every passing game. Is something seriously wrong inside the Indiana Fever organization? Because what started as frustration over rotations and coaching decisions has suddenly turned into a much bigger conversation, one that nobody saw coming. And now, some fans are asking a question that would have sounded absolutely insane just months ago. Does Caitlin Clark actually want out of Indiana? Now, before anyone panics, let's be clear. There is no confirmed report saying Caitlin Clark has officially demanded out of the Fever, but that hasn't stopped the internet from exploding after a wave of controversy surrounding her role, coaching decisions, and the growing tension fans think they're seeing behind the scenes. And honestly, the reactions have been intense. Because for many Fever fans, this doesn't just feel like normal growing pains anymore. To them, something feels off. When Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA, expectations weren't just high, they were historic. She arrived with more pressure, more attention, and frankly, more eyes on her than almost any rookie in league history. She didn't just bring talent, she brought ratings. Ticket sales exploded. Arenas sold out. TV numbers jumped. Suddenly, people who had never watched a WNBA game before were tuning in just to see what she would do next. And with all that attention came one massive expectation. Indiana was supposed to build around her. That's why every decision involving Caitlin Clark feels bigger than basketball. Every substitution, every rotation, every late-game moment. Fans aren't just watching games anymore, they're analyzing every little detail like detectives, trying to uncover a mystery. And recently, one particular storyline sent fans into full meltdown mode. After moments where Clark found herself sitting during critical stretches, criticism exploded online. Some supporters questioned whether the coaching staff truly understood how to maximize her strengths. Others went even further, accusing the Fever of mishandling the face of the franchise. Then came something even more dramatic: speculation that Clark herself might be frustrated. Social media lit up with clips of sideline reactions, facial expressions, and moments where Caitlin appeared visibly annoyed. Suddenly, fans started connecting dots. Was she unhappy? Is there tension behind closed doors? Did she disagree with coaching decisions? And once those questions started spreading, the internet did what it always does. It turned speculation into a wildfire. People began revisiting interviews, post-game comments, and body language, trying to figure out if there was more happening than what fans were being told. Every quote got dissected. Every pause became proof of something bigger. But here's where things get interesting. Great players challenging coaches is not exactly a shocking story in professional sports. In fact, it happens all the time. Elite competitors hate losing. They want control. They want answers. And when things aren't working, emotions rise quickly. You think superstar athletes quietly accept every coaching decision? Absolutely not. The best players in sports history have pushed back, questioned systems, and demanded adjustments. That doesn't automatically mean they want out. Sometimes it simply means they care deeply about winning. But because this is Caitlin Clark, arguably the most talked about player in women's basketball, every little thing becomes magnified 10 times over. And fans, they're emotional about this situation. Some believe Indiana isn't doing enough to protect or maximize Clark's talent. They point to moments where offensive schemes looked messy, or where she appeared visibly frustrated after possessions broke down. Others argue the coaching staff is trying to teach patience and long-term development, reminding everyone that building a championship team doesn't happen overnight. Still, that hasn't stopped the criticism. One thing Fever fans desperately want to see is clarity. They want to know, what exactly is the plan? Because from their perspective, you don't get a generational talent like Caitlin Clark very often. Players who can completely transform a league are rare. So naturally, supporters feel urgency. They don't want wasted years. They don't want chemistry problems. They don't want drama. And perhaps most importantly, they don't want to imagine a future where Clark becomes unhappy enough to think about leaving. That fear alone has driven a huge part of this conversation. Because here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to admit: superstar player relationships with organizations matter. If stars feel supported, heard, and empowered, things usually work out. But if frustration grows, if losses pile up, if communication breaks down, that's when problems can become real. Again, there's no evidence Caitlin Clark wants out of Indiana right now. But fans are reacting emotionally because they understand how important these early years are. And honestly, you can understand why emotions are so high. The Fever aren't dealing with an ordinary rookie. They're managing arguably the biggest basketball attraction in America. Every game becomes national conversation. Every mistake trends online. Every awkward moment gets replayed 1,000 times. That pressure affects everyone: coaches, teammates, executives, and yes, players too. Imagine trying to grow as a young team while millions of people are judging every possession like it's Game 7 of the finals. That's the reality Indiana is dealing with. But another reason fans feel uneasy comes down to expectations versus reality. Many expected Caitlin Clark to instantly dominate and immediately transform the Fever into contenders. Instead, there have been struggles, adjustments, and moments where chemistry clearly still needs work. And that gap between expectation and reality can create frustration fast. Fans want quick answers. Sports rarely work that way, especially when you're transitioning from college superstardom to professional basketball. At Iowa, Caitlin Clark had total control. The offense ran through her. The system fit her perfectly. She was comfortable. The WNBA is different. Defenders are stronger. Rotations are faster. Coaches scout every move. And teammates are professionals with established roles. Adjustments take time. Still, patience isn't exactly something sports. Fans are known for war set, and when things don't look smooth, narratives begin forming immediately. One bad stretch becomes locker room tension. A frustrated reaction becomes proof she's unhappy. A coaching disagreement becomes she wants out. That's just the reality of modern sports media. But let's ask the real question here. If Caitlin Clark truly had concerns about coaching or team direction, would that actually be shocking? Not at all. Competitors care. Competitors challenge things. Competitors want accountability. If Clark is speaking up internally, that could just mean she wants the Fever to improve faster. In fact, many fans might actually want that from their franchise star. Nobody wants a superstar who doesn't care. People want passion. People want fire. People want leadership. And leadership sometimes means difficult conversations happen behind closed doors. At the same time, coaching staffs have difficult jobs. 2, they can't simply let one player dictate every decision, no matter how famous or talented they are. Building culture matters. Team chemistry matters. Long-term development matters. That balancing act becomes incredibly difficult when the player involved also happens to be the face of the entire league conversation. Because no matter what Indiana does, someone will be angry. Play Caitlin too much. Critics say you're risking burnout. Bench her briefly. Fans say you're disrespecting the franchise star. Adjust the offense. Some praise it. Others call it sabotage. There's almost no winning. But one thing feels undeniable. Indiana needs alignment. Because if there's one thing sports history teaches us, it's this: organizations thrive when stars, coaches, and management are moving in the same direction. Miscommunication creates chaos. Trust builds championships. And whether the rumors are exaggerated or not, perception matters. If fans believe tension exists, that conversation won't disappear anytime soon. The Fever organization now faces an important challenge: calming concerns while continuing to develop a winning culture. Because the last thing anyone wants is unnecessary drama surrounding one of basketball's brightest stars. And for Caitlin Clark herself, this moment could become an important chapter in her career. Every superstar eventually faces adversity. Every superstar deals with criticism. Every superstar experiences moments where expectations feel overwhelming. The question isn't whether challenges will happen. The question is how you respond. Does frustration become motivation? Does criticism fuel growth? Does adversity strengthen chemistry? Those answers take time. But one thing is absolutely certain: the basketball world is watching every single move. And whether these rumors fade away or grow louder, one reality remains impossible to ignore. The relationship between Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever might become one of the biggest stories in sports for years to come. So now the question shifts to you. Are fans overreacting to normal growing pains? Or do you think there's something bigger happening behind the scenes in Indiana? Let me know below, because this conversation is only getting started.